Hey everyone, this video will feature the use of basic PHP and using the RedBean ORM to save and display some basic data. For this to work, you need to have your server running and you need to do all of your work like I am out of the htdocs folder. I have a folder inside of htdocs which is called slime stoppers, and in there are three files. The first one is makereport.html, and that's the web form that we created the other day. The next file is PHP Lite admin, and that file has already been written for us, and it's going to allow us to view the database. The third file is rb.php, which is RedBean, and we need that to be able to easily save and retrieve the data. So having a look at the form, this is it right here. It's got a drop-down menu right here, so you can select what you saw, whether it's a spider, a mouse, or a mongoose. It's got an input box, so you can type in the color of what you saw, and it's got a whole series of these radio buttons, and you can select what time of day you saw it. And then down here, we just have a bigger text area where you can type in a bit of an explanation of what you saw. If you don't have this file, you can pause the video and type it out, or you can just grab it. The thing to point out about the form is that it has a starting form tag here, and it has an ending form tag at the bottom. All of the elements, including the submit button, need to be inside of the ending form and the starting form. Next, I'm going to talk about two attributes that are part of the form tag. One's called method and the other one is called action. The method can be either a post or a get, and for all of our work I recommend using post because the data is sent behind the scenes and it's not just added on to the URL. The second attribute is called action, and that's the page that's going to load when you press the submit button at the bottom. Now this submit button is called send now, so whenever someone uses your page and they press on send now, it will take them to processreport.php. That's the page that we're going to build right now. I'm going to start by selecting all and copying all of that, making a new file, pasting it in, and I'm going to save it as processreport.php. Now I'm going to get rid of everything that's within the body. So I've got just the body tags left and this stuff up here. So this page is called process report. Now we want to add in some PHP to our page. Anywhere that you want to do PHP, you can start it off by using these two tags here. This one to start and this one to end. Anything in here will be processed by the server. The first thing you need to know is how do I actually access all of those fields that I just posted to the page. And you can do that by printing out the entire underscore post array by using the printr function like this. This is going to print out the entire associative array. In Python, you would call it a dictionary. So here we are. I saw a mouse and it was brown, and it was in lesson 4, and I saw a mouse. So all this page is doing is printing out the contents of the associative array, and you can see that they come in key value pairs. The what was the mouse, the color was brown, the lesson was L4, and the explain was set to that. So that's good. That's really useful to use when you're not quite sure what was sent and was it sent properly, or have two of your fields got the same name, so therefore the second one has overwritten the first one, and you can troubleshoot all sorts of weird problems like that. I'm going to use hash to comment that out, and I want to assign some variables. So the variables that I want to assign are what, color, lesson, and explain. So now would be a really good time to mention a really cool feature of Komodo Edit. If you're not using Komodo Edit, you have to do it the long way. But normally what I like to do is highlight the equals and press on Control D a few times. And now I can enter the same thing on multiple lines. So I just push the right arrow, and now you can see I've got 4 cursors flashing on the right hand side of the equals. Now I can just type in this. Press Escape to exit that mode, and now I can type in these individually. So this one's what, this one's color, this one's lesson, and this one is explain. Underneath that, I'm just going to echo all of these out. So I'm going to echo what, and then a colon, and then I'm going to join it onto the what variable, which is in line number 10. And to join strings together, I'm just using the dot to concatenate the strings together. And as you can see here, I'm using an HTML tag for break, which is going to put a new line underneath. I'm going to duplicate this. And then I'm quickly just going to make sure it worked. And that's going to prove to me that all of these lines are correct. I can just submit the same data I already typed in. So the what was a mouse, the color was brown, the lesson was L4, and the explain was I saw a mouse. So that's good. You know how to actually access each of those variables and the post data that came from the previous page. But how do you actually save it? And that's where RedBean comes in. In the past, you've had to create the database and you've had to create the tables by yourself and figure out what field types they are, whether they're text or date, time, or integer, or whatever. Using RedBean is way, way, way easier. So now that you know how to do that, now we can move on to RedBean. Let's go. Up the top here, I'm going to put in require RedBean.php. And that's basically like an import in Python. It just includes that file so that we can use some of its functions. Now that we've included RedBean, we can actually use this capital R and we can access its static method. And one of its static methods is called setup. So we're going to connect to and use an SQLite database. The thing I really like about SQLite databases are they are single files. That means you can back them up and you can look at them easily. To access them, you just type in SQLite and then a colon, and then whatever the name of your file is. We're going to use ss_data.sqlite. I always like to put a .sqlite on the end of my files so I know what they are. Before we go any further, we actually need read and write access to this file. So I'm going to go into here and go up one directory and make sure that the server can actually read and write to that file. So on the Mac, I'm going to right click on the file folder and go to get info. And then down here where it says everyone, I need to set it to read and write. Now to save one of these records, first we need to use the dispense method. And the dispense method creates a new row in a specified table, and in RedBean we call them a type of bean. We're going to create a report bean. Since this dispense method returns an object, we need to put a variable and an equal sign on the left of it. So we're going to call this new report, and we're going to set it to our dispense report. Now that we've got this new report object, we can assign properties to it by using the object operator, which looks like an arrow. You'll get used to using that. We want to assign what and color and I'm just using the variables that we set up in the top here. So we need 4 of these. So now that we've dispensed the object or created a new one and we've set some properties, we need to do the final thing, which is called store. So store is also a static method, and in the brackets, as its argument, you need to just type in the name of the object. New report. Now we're going to go see if it works. I'm going to resubmit the previous information I typed in. Press on send now. Go back. I'm going to do another one for a spider, which was black, and it was discovered in lesson 3, and it was a big spider. So to see if it works, I'm going to have a look at PHP Lite admin. Just reload it. And you can see that this is the file name that we're looking at, and it's created a table of data called report, and it got that because of the bean type that we used called report. And then as you can see, this is the table of data here. It has an ID, which is automatically generated, and it has a what, it has a color, it has a lesson, and it has an explain. So we can view it in here, but this isn't what we really want to show our users of the site. So in this final part of the video, I'm quickly going to go through how to create a viewer page. So here we go. I'm going to select all and copy this into a new file, and I'm going to call it view reports and make sure it's saved inside of slime stoppers, and it's going to be called viewreports.php. So the title can be view all reports or something like that. These 2 lines here we're going to leave, the requiring of the rb.php and the setup, and all of this stuff here can get deleted up to there. So now in the PHP section, you should only have the require, which includes the RedBean, and then the setup, which connects to the exact same file that we saved the information to. So here we're going to use the find all, and we're going to find all the records that have a bean type of report. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to print them out using a for each loop, and a for each loop is very similar to a for loop in Python, except it's got some more brackets. Make sure you put your curly braces in there. And we're going through this. This is your collection or your group, and this is your singular right here. So make sure you put an S over here and no S on this one. And now inside of this loop, it's going to loop through however many records you have. So in our case, it's going to print out, it's going to loop through twice, and each time it's going to set report to a different object. To make it look nice, we're going to do it in a table. So for a table, we just start off using a table tag like that. And then after it's all finished, we need to end the table like this. At the beginning, before we do the loop, we're going to do a heading row. So that's a start TR and an end TR. Inside of that, we're going to have 4 of these, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to have a what, a color, a lesson, and an explain. And then in here, as we're going through our loop, as we're going through each record, we just want to print out a new row. So I'm going to create a new TR here, and I'm going to create an end TR here, and then in between here, we can make a new table data for each. So pretty much we've loaded that object in. Now we can access it by going like this. We can pull out the what, one, whoops, 2, 3, 4. We can pull out the what, we can pull out the color, we can do the lesson, and we can do the explain as well. Just clean up this empty space here. The only other thing that I would do is maybe just put a border on and maybe some cell padding so it looks a little bit more spaced. And then we're going to go back here and go and have a look at the view reports page. And that's how you actually output some information into a table. You can do, obviously you can do a whole bunch more. You need to go to RedBeanPHP.com and have a look. I recommend starting off on the CRUD, the create, update, retrieve and delete page. But then you'll also have a look at finding, because we pulled out everything using find all, and there are other more specific ways to pull out only certain beans or certain records. And then you've also got querying, and you've got these other things down here. So there you go. You have a very basic web app that has a form that saves the information and that prints it out in a table at the end.